Hi, we're talking today to business owners who have a partner and who are interested in documenting their deal with their partner before the proverbial shit hits the fan. Hi, I'm Jerry Carter with the Sierra Crest Business Law Group, and we still see a lot of people come into our office who are business owners. They have a partner and they have some problems with their partner. And as we talk through the situation, there are a lot of interrelationships between them and the business and their partner that have not been documented. It doesn't make it impossible to deal with, but it's certainly an adventure to work through what their options are when that documentation, those written agreements don't exist. And so I just want to talk today about what are all the things that you can document with your business partner that will bring clarity to the relationship and also bring stability to your business and to your life. So starting with the easiest is, usually when you have a partnership, you're going to have an entity, maybe a corporation or a limited liability company. That's usually the right way to go. And when you create that entity, you're going to have articles. So the articles of organization for the limited liability company, articles of incorporation for the corporation. Then you can have, with a corporation, you can have bylaws. You can also have a shareholder agreement, which is an agreement among the owners. And the counterpart on the limited liability side would be an operating agreement. And those agreements can address a lot of different topics that come up between partners, such as how do we break deadlocks? If we have a voting deadlock, is it okay to bring in other owners? Can my partner sell his or her shares to somebody else and bring in someone into the partnership that I didn't approve? It can address things like what happens if one of the partners divorces or dies. And so there are a wide range of topics that can be addressed in either an operating agreement or a shareholder agreement. That's not usually where it ends. A lot of times when you have a business partnership, one of the partners will own the building where the business is based out of, and the company may or may not be paying rent. You can have a lease in place that spells out exactly what the business is going to pay to that partner and what the lease terms are. So that's a really good thing to have, is that lease. Sometimes with a business partnership, one of the partners or both may be loaning money to the company or advancing money to pay expenses, especially during that startup phase when there's not steady money coming into the company. Well, a lot of times we see someone come into our office and say, well, we started the company 2 years ago and I put in $120,000 and my partner put in 50, and now we're finally turning a profit and I can't get my partner to agree that I can get my $120,000 back. Okay, so that's what, the way to prevent that scenario obviously is to, when you put the money in, decide, is that an investment in the company that's going to get me more ownership, or is that a loan to the company that's going to be paid back? And if it's an investment in the company that gets you more ownership, that can be documented. If it's a loan to the company that's going to be paid back to you, that can be documented too, and should be documented. Another thing that can be documented is duties and responsibilities. A lot of times the partners go in and they have some good talk about, well, I can do the marketing, I can push the lawnmower, I can hire people, and they kind of, in their minds, they divide up the responsibility. And two things happen. One is that the way they talk and the enthusiasm and the ambition that comes out of the way they talk doesn't always translate into reality, into what they actually do when they show up at the business. The other thing that happens is that the business changes over time, and the conversation they had at the beginning isn't always as applicable or relevant or helpful to decide what the responsibilities are going forward. And in either event, the solution is to spell out in writing what the roles are, what the hats are in the company. There are different hats that get worn in a company, who's going to wear each hat, and what the primary job responsibilities and duties are for wearing that hat, and then divide it up, and then at least you have something where you can hold your partner accountable, your partner can hold you accountable, because you've agreed on who's wearing what hat and what those hats entail. As you bring on additional people, it's really good to have an employment agreement. to specify duties and compensation so that there is no confusion going forward. Nevada is an at-will state, which means that you can set up the employment so that either the employee or the employer can terminate the employment at any time. And you can still have a written agreement even though it's at-will employment, and that's often a good way to go. And then one more thing that you can pay attention to documenting is if there's a good partnership, if there's good communication, you're probably going to be having meetings, hopefully regular meetings going forward, maybe monthly, quarterly, at least yearly, where you decide the direction, the course and direction of the company going forward. And when you have those meetings, you can write down what the decisions were for future reference. And those are sometimes called resolutions. We put them in the quote-unquote minute book, but that's really handy to have, to be documenting as you go what the decisions are about the future and the course and direction of the company. As you can see, when you have a business partner, there are lots of opportunities for communication and documenting your agreements. Hopefully you're taking advantage of all those opportunities so that you're preventing a lot of misunderstanding and mistrust going forward. If you have any questions about how to properly document your business partnership arrangement, we'd be more than happy to talk to you about those questions. Give us a call at the Sierra Crest Business Law Group.